Hey guys, good morning. Fair warning right here. This is about to be a rant, so you've been warned. I think one of the greatest problems in our society today is this need we have and this habit of labeling everything. We think everything has to have a label, and it's creating a gigantic misconception around what's happening in our minds and our hearts and our lives. And it's creating this massive problem, and so people are taking on the label, and the label gives them identity, and our behavior is always tied with our identity. Like, we literally act out and live what we think we are, the way we identify ourselves. So if I identify myself as a certain kind of person, or, and this is what we're talking about, if I have a certain problem, I take on the identity of having that problem, then I act it out, I manifest it, I perpetuate it, I continue in that problem. And so identity is always connected to behavior, and behavior is always connected to identity. If you view yourself as a pianist or an author, right, or an athlete, you do those things, you live those things, you tell people about it, you act it out, you live it, you think about it, you dream about it, you become that thing. But when we start handing out labels to everybody, and we start handing out labels to ourselves, and we take on all these things, then we embrace the identity. So here's the problem. Now again, I got to pause here. I realize what I'm about to say is a very sensitive subject. Please don't misunderstand me. Like, catch this right here. Please don't misunderstand me. I am not passing judgment on any individual because I don't know all the circumstances and conditions. Are you with me? Like, hear me on this. I am not passing judgment on any individual circumstance because I don't know. I can't judge. I don't know that, right? But what I'm about to say is crazy important for the rest of us. There's this massive rise in depression and anxiety and all these other problems, right? But the vast majority of it is not actually a rise in anxiety and depression. And for most of you, again, there's exceptions, for most of you, you don't have anxiety. You don't have depression. You don't have the problem. Somebody's given you the label or you've taken it on. You can feel anxious without having anxiety. You can feel depressed without having depression, and on and on and on. Like, all those things. You get what I'm saying? Like, just because I feel anxious sometimes doesn't mean I have anxiety. Just because you feel depressed sometimes doesn't mean you have depression. It's part of life. And I agree with Brendan Burchard in his excellent book, Motivation Manifesto. He says the vast majority of people don't actually have the problem. They just have poor management of their minds. And this is where the rant comes in. And maybe it's not even your fault. You've just never been taught. You've never been trained how to manage your thoughts and minds and feelings. And so if I'm not managing and controlling and directing my thoughts and my emotions, then they run out of control and they get rampant, and I'm feeling anxious and depressed and discouraged and angry and all these things, which is totally normal. Every human is going to feel some anxiety and some depression and some discouragement and some anger. But as we learn how to manage and control and direct our thoughts and emotions, like, we get that in charge. Now, some of you are like, oh, come on, you're so rude, you're so shallow, you're so ignorant to think that anxiety and depression, all you have to do is change your thoughts. Well, I actually believe that because I've been studying personal development and human performance for over 2 decades, and I've worked with thousands and thousands of people all over the earth, literally on 5 continents. And again, there are some exceptions. Don't misunderstand me here. I realize there are exceptions. But for the vast majority of people, it literally is just learning how to control our thoughts and our mind, and our minds and our emotions. Because literally, what we think about, we bring about. And so if I continually perpetuate these thoughts and I get into thinking patterns and thinking habits, then my thoughts create my emotions, right? I'm generating all those feelings, which create my acts, and then my habits and my behavior and my character, and eventually my life. And if I take on the label of having anxiety or depression, and I perpetuate that, and I don't do anything, then the pattern and the cycle leads to my thoughts and feelings, which leads to my behavior and habits and my character. And I embrace that whole identity, then I just get in this rut, and I take that on. It's almost like victimism, right? I'm playing the role of victim. I take on this identity of I have this problem. And you guys, and I'm mentioning anxiety and depression, but it could be anything. It literally could be anything. I take on this identity of I have a problem. That's me. I'm a problem. Okay? And I embrace that identity as having a problem. Then I think about it, I feel it, I act it out, I tell people about it, and I'm like, oh, I can't do anything. I have a problem. Well, hey, you want to come try this? You want to do this? No, I can't. I have a problem. You see that? How we set into this role of victim, and we all do it in all levels. I do it. Everybody does. We set in, but boom, I can't because I have this thing. I take on that identity. I can't do that because I'm not athletic. I can't do that. I did this for years. I can't learn an instrument because I'm not musical. Right? You see that identity? It's victimism. Where really I could become almost anything if I work on it consistently. It's practice. You guys need to read the book called Talent is Overrated. And we're actually doing this in one of my courses. We're studying that together. It points out this gigantic misconception that really talented people are born that way. They just have this gift, this talent, this natural ability. And we go through, and in the book, he goes through some of the best, like the top performers across all fields throughout history, and points out they weren't just naturally gifted and talented, they worked at it harder than anything else and anybody else, and so they became this natural wonder genius awesome because they worked at it like crazy. There's another great book called So Good They Can't Ignore You, which points out like you just have to practice so hard and so well that you become so good that people can't ignore you, and then all of a sudden you stand out and people are like, oh, you're so gifted. The same is true for our mindset and our heart set and our skill set. But if I take on this identity and I'm like, oh, I can't do it because this is the way I am and this is my identity, we have this huge problem. And so, you guys, I'm doing this with love. Please don't misunderstand me. I know this isn't going to be popular with some people. I realize that. But this is with genuine love. I have felt unbelievable amounts of fear and anxiety. I've seen things and experienced things I wouldn't wish on an enemy. I've been there. I felt so depressed and so discouraged and so hopeless. I've been at low points in my life where it's like I just wanted to give up. I wanted to end my life. Why would I keep on living? This sucks so bad. Why would I do that? I've been there. I felt that. And whenever you're doing something hard, excruciatingly hard, and you're facing challenges and obstacles, you're going to feel anxiety. You're going to feel depressed. But it doesn't mean you have anxiety, and it doesn't mean you have depression. Like, everything in life isn't going to be unicorns, friends. Right? Like, life is hard. It's meant to be hard. And the greater challenge today in our day, because our lives are so easy and so comfortable, and we're so affluent, we have so much money and so many good things, is we get weaker and weaker and weaker. Right? I love comfortable things. I love good things. I love swimming pools and beautiful yards and awesome experiences. I love it. But guess what? All these good things can make us weak. And so then when we're weak, if I become weak because my life is so easy and so comfortable, then I become weak and I begin thinking that somewhat difficult things are crazy hard because I'm weak. Does that make sense? And so the weaker I am, the harder things seem to me, when in reality, in like a big scale, they're not really that hard. Like, hard's up here, but this is killing me because I'm weak. Sorry, I told you this was a rant. But it's just true, my friends. We have to dig deep and say, again, I'm going to go back to this. It's not all these problems and these labels. For the vast majority of us, myself included, it is literally poor management of our minds. And if we learn to control and direct our thoughts, that will alter our emotions, it'll alter our actions, our behaviors, our skill set, our identity, our character, and our entire lives are controlled right here. This is where it all begins. And so we can begin to do that. So it's okay when you're facing hard things, going through that experiences, it's okay to feel like some fear and self-doubt and insecurities and discouragement and feeling depressed sometimes. But don't take on the label and identity of having anxiety and having depression. You don't have those things. You just feel them sometimes. It's okay. It's a normal human experience. And we can all dig in, get a little tougher, get a little better, manage this better, manage this better, manage these betters, right? The actions and habits. And we literally write our own ticket and craft the life we want and build the future we want. And life can be exactly what you and I make of it, but it all starts right here. So get rid of the labels. If you've taken on any kind of label, get rid of it. And if you have an identity that's keeping you from what you want to do, change your identity. Yes, you have that power. Like, alter your identity, become the person you want to become. If you have an identity around, oh, I'm always overweight, I'm always unhealthy, I'm always obese, change the identity. And guess what will happen? It will change the behavior, right? Whatever it is, like, pick the identity you want, literally, become that new person. And it will alter the whole course of your life. I've done it. I've helped other people do it. It is totally possible and doable. Don't play the victim. Say, I'm 100% in control of my life, full responsibility. Everything I get in my life is because of me. Make it happen. Ugh. Because you guys, awesome is always an option. It really is. You can do this. I'll help you do it. Take my classes, sign up for my courses. Like, I literally help people make these transformations, and you can do it too. Because if I can do it, anyone can do it. So get out, make it happen. Awesome's always an option. Reach upward.